Hi, this is Cheryl for Bayer's Pampered Stampers. Today I want to show you some beautiful new papers that are in the store from a company called Stamperia, and also how to make this fun acetate card. As you can see, the front part of it is see-through here. It's a little hard to show that on camera, but I'm sure you're picking up the glare at this point, which works perfectly with these gorgeous, gorgeous papers. If you remember back to the holidays, Sister Rosalind did a fun card class with using Stamperia papers, and she had all the pretty laces and stuff on. So this is the same paper company. They're from Italy. They make beautiful, beautiful papers. I want to show you first some of the papers that are in store. This is the one that I'm featuring today. This is from their Alice in, I think it's just called Alice collection, but it's obviously Alice in Wonderland. How fun is this? And when you flip it over, you've got the backs of the cards on the back. So if we look at, here's one I cut apart. When you cut these down, they're just a little under 4 by 6. So they're perfect for card making. But how fun is that? So there's not many individual sheets. This happens to be one from Alice, the cute little cards here. There's also an individual sheet that has the fairies and unicorns. How fun is that? I apologize, it's hard to get everything in the camera angle, so I have to keep moving it. Back isn't nearly as exciting on this one, but still a nice back. This is one of the 12 by 12 packs she has. It's called Lilac Flowers. I just want to page through a little bit so you can kind of see these papers. Unfortunately, again, getting it in full camera view is a little bit hard given my setup here, but we'll give you an idea of what's here. If you remember, these papers come more or less in booklet form, so they're kind of bound together, easily separated though, so we can do our projects. Look at how pretty these are in this lilac set. I just love them. Fronts and backs, both very usable. She's got a whole host of 8 by 8 sets as well. Here's Alice. So this is the smaller version of where the playing cards came from. Look at those, isn't that fun? Can you see a lot of fun things you could do for making cards for people? I know it's easy for me to think about 1.5 million projects that I could do with these papers. They're too fun. Again, I want to give you a quick look here. You have to go in store while you can still get them and see what's left. We've got the cats and dogs covered. Here's the dog version. How fun is that? I love the brightness of this paper. It's so springy. So many fun card choices that you can make with this. Again, these are all bound together in the little book, but again, easily separated. Here's one called Hortensia. I'm going from back to front just because it's easier, but either way, they're beautiful, beautiful paper collections. This one is probably closest to the lilac, which wasn't available at this time in an 8 by 8, unfortunately, but this has a lot of those same gorgeous tones and lots of beautiful floral papers. And I like that even the front and the back covers in these are usable. There's always something usable, so there's no waste in these booklets. This one's called Imagine. Again, lots of fun papers here for mixed media, for cards. Lots and lots of choices of things to do. Again, sorry, I'm flipping through here rather quickly. To get the full view, obviously you've got to stop in the store, but it's way too cool. Cool paper. This one's called Sweets. Oh my goodness. Don't look at this one on an empty stomach. It's very tempting. Fun choices for birthday cards, for a recipe book, just endless things that you could do. Lots of fun layouts with this one as well. This is the one I think she may be out of right now. It's called Threads. Hopefully she'll be able to get more of this in because it's kind of fun, vintagey, sewing themed. Very, very cool papers. Here's our cats one. We saw dogs earlier, so we have orchids and cats here. Beautiful, beautiful papers though. Again, lots of possibilities for cards. Lots of cut apart pages like these if you want some quick and simple cards. Many, many features. And lots of little tags. Tags tend to be on the front cover of a lot of these. And here's our last one. This one, if anything, is more, I thought it was more on the masculine side maybe. You definitely have some good colors and prints that you could use on guy cards. But again, you know, beautiful cards for women as well. So it's all up to you and your imagination. What do you want to make today? Look at those tags. They're just gorgeous. You have so many choices. So hopefully you're still with me and you haven't run out to the store to get your hands on this paper, which is just absolutely gorgeous and way too fun to work with. Again, it's a pretty, they're known for creating things with rice paper. That's where they started way back when. I want to say maybe in the 80s, their company started. But I just fell in love with these Alice cut aparts. The cards, they're too fun. When I saw that, I said to Melissa, let's make an acetate card. So what I did was to do a very simple acetate card. There are much more advanced things you can do, but I like that this had the front and back design. And they're printed. The register is so close. So what I did was I cut apart my sheet. There's 6 here. They're approximately 4 by 6. So when I cut the paper down into 4 by 6 size, I found myself trimming just a little bit more to get the borders even around the cards. And then I ended up just cutting out the card. And I'm going to take this off the card that I made so you can see that. Rounded edges and all. So this is where I got out my scissors and I fussy cut the rest. So paper trimmer to this point, fussy cut here. Once I had cut the front and I was happy with the appearance, I flipped it over and checked to make sure there wasn't any stray border on the back side, and there was just very little, so I went ahead and trimmed that off. Excuse me, and you can hardly see it on either side that I did that. This size ends up being just slightly less than 4 by 6, so my card size was pretty well set. Our normal card size A2 is 4 1/4 by 5.5. Got my measurements off a little bit there. So it's a little bit too short and a little wider than what I needed for this. So I went ahead and custom cut a card. It's not hard. When working with acetate, as you know, can be a little bit difficult. First of all, it's shiny for the camera. You can see that part of it. It doesn't want to fold as well as a paper would. This is not a project where you want to get this super heavy duty stuff from Melissa. Get the regular acetate and it will work just fine. So I decided 4 by 6 would be my card size. I knew I wanted to have a regular card back on it because I want to be able to write in here, put some sort of a greeting. Yes, you can stamp on acetate. That isn't the problem. You can actually write on it if you have a Sharpie or an alcohol ink marker of some kind. But I didn't want to have a full acetate card. Excuse me. So what I did was, in making my card, I cut my back panel at 4x6, the finished size of my card. When I cut my acetate, I cut it just slightly larger. I went with the 6 measurement here, but I added 1/2 inch so I could attach the acetate. So I'm going to replicate that here with these 2 pieces of cardstock that have just skated underneath the edge of my papers here. So here's my backer. This is 4x6, just like the card that I made. And this one's just a little bit bigger at 4.5x6. And I went ahead and scored the paper at half. And I'm using paper because I really didn't think you could see the acetate on camera. So we're going to play pretend this is clear. It's really not. So again, super simple. All I'm going to do is fold on that score line, and I'm going to get my bone folder, and I'm going to burnish along that so that I keep a good crease. Now, if this were acetate, and I pulled a piece here for you to see this, acetate doesn't like to crease very well. It can be a little stubborn about it. You can absolutely, same methods you use for any type of paper, use your paper trimmer, use your scoreboard to go ahead and crease it. But when it comes to folding, you'll find yourself creasing it multiple times with a bone folder. And it's okay. Just keep doing that. Eventually, it'll take the hint and it will hold down. So now all I have to do really is attach these 2 pieces together. And so what I did was I opened this up. I put glue along the inside edge, and that's just our regular Nuvo glue, nothing special. And then I laid the cardstock inside, matching of course, and just made sure that it was glued down. You do have to watch because the acetate will want to pop up here. So you want to have something heavy standing by that you can lay on top and just get that glue to hold. You've got a porous surface in the paper and a non-porous surface in the acetate. The acetate will never absorb your glue. So you've got to make sure it sticks to the porous surface enough that it will adhere, and it will adhere. And you'll have no problems with that. I did this so you could kind of see what adhesives look like with acetate. There's a tape runner. So you can see you don't really want to use a tape runner. It will hold your paper to your acetate. And obviously you can remove it, but you're going to see every little dot or whatever that it laid down right through, and hopefully that's coming through the camera for you. This is a spot where I glued it. Glue is really the best solution. Excuse me. It shows, but it's not as showy or as offensive. And again, I'm going to try and get close enough to the camera. I think you can see my blob there of glue. So that's exactly what you'd see through the acetate on the back. Now, not one to be deterred by that, I grabbed a roll of washi tape and I just put that over the top to cover my glue line, to cover my seam, and to add a little decoration to the back. So it's an option for covering things up. You could just leave it go. Again, it's not that offensive of you. It's the back of the card. It's not that big of a deal. So you have choices, let it go, let it stay. But that's the same reason why I didn't want to be gluing this panel to the acetate. Because if I glued this down, then all I'm going to see on this side is glue, and that's not what I wanted. The back of this card is much too pretty. So I kind of thought about putting a saying, a sentiment, something on the inside to the recipient of the card. And if you're going to do that, obviously you want to do it before you complete the card, but you want to give an opportunity for them to see that unobstructed by glue or anything else. So I came up with the idea of just cutting little notches with my craft knife and sliding the card into the little notch, which it was really easy to put in the first place, but as soon as you remove it, you know it's going to give me trouble. There we go. 3 corners, 4 corners. So it's secure there. If you're worried about it, you can put a little glue dot on to hold it in place. But this way, the recipient gets the full beauty of the front panel as well as the back. The only other thing I can say is make sure your back color is something that looks good with your design, because if it doesn't, you got an issue, because it is going to show through. I've got acetate, a 1/4 inch acetate border all the way around. How did I know where to cut my slits? That part was actually pretty easy too. What I did was lay the card upside down on my cutting board, and I grabbed my knife and I kind of scratched the corners in with the card in place. Then I took this panel in place, sorry. Then I took that off, grabbed my knife, and I cut through to make the slits. So super, super easy to do. As you can see, it needs some scoring even yet. It's being a little bit stubborn, but the longer it goes, and a little journey in an envelope will make it stay together as well. So many ways you can make acetate cards, really. Glue adhesives are the big issue, so the best way to get around that is to do something like I've done here, where you temporarily attach what you're wanting to do by using the corner slits, or if you pasted something front and back, and that way your glue is covered on both sides. You could do that as well. So if I were going to do that on my little fake acetate card here, I might put a green paper behind it and put this on top. If I keep the glue confined to both pieces of paper, even where the acetate shows through, it's not going to show any glue as long as there's paper on both sides. But literally for this card, I would have had to glue this on, get a different panel for the back, glue that on here, and so on and so forth. So a lot you can do with acetate. It certainly makes for a unique card. You don't get a lot like this. Maybe a bigger card would have been better. I don't know. I have second thoughts about that sometimes. Should I have made this 5x7 and had even more acetate and that sort of thing? But then you're hiding more things, because I want to keep my back clean. As much of it is going to show, I want to keep it clean, because I want to just keep that a clear view through and keep the focus on my cute, cute little Stamperia card. So lots of fun papers in the shop. Be sure to stop by and check them out while they're still there. I know she'll be getting more in, just not sure if she can get the same ones. So check them all out. I know you'll have a great time working with them. Thanks for watching. Bye.